This episode has been brought to you by justinform.com. If you're tired of being censored, tired of having your data stolen and sold, go to justinform.com, a social media site where all voices are welcome.
So, surprise, surprise, the candidate who spoke about an anti-war platform and a peace economy and is a democratic socialist and has literally been talking about every single progressive talking point that you can think of, and then some, is still anti-war. Can you believe it? Recently, Ocasio-Cortez came under fire by talking heads and progressive pundits because her website had temporarily deleted the peace economy portion of her platform. Now, when the response was given, which seemed to be a pretty legitimate one, it said something to the extent of, well, from the email said that they were working on the site. Ocasio herself even responded almost immediately after this was brought up and said that sounds like a mistake and she's going to figure out exactly what happened because she doesn't run the website. It is a supporter-ran website. So, yesterday, it was updated. Surprise, surprise. And this is what her new peace economy says. Since the invasion of Iraq in 2003, the United States has entangled itself in war and occupation throughout the Middle East and North Africa. As of 2018, we are currently involved in military action in Libya, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen, Pakistan, and Somalia. Hundreds of thousands of civilians in these countries have been killed either as collateral damage from American strikes or from the instability caused by U.S. interventions. Millions more have fled their broken countries, contributing to the global refugee crisis. This continued action damages America's legitimacy as a force for good, creates generations of potential terrorists, and erodes American prosperity. In times when we're told there is not enough money, Republicans and corporate Democrats seem to find the cash to fund $1.1 trillion fighter jet programs or $1.7 trillion nuclear weapon modernization program. The costs are extreme. The Pentagon's budget for 2018 is $700 billion to continue fighting an endless war on terror and refighting the Cold War with a new arms race that nobody can win. According to the Constitution, the right to declare war belongs to the legislative body, and yet many of these global acts of aggression have never once been voted on by Congress. In some cases, we've even acted unilaterally without any backing of the United Nations. America should not be in the business of destabilizing countries. While we may see ourselves as liberators, the world increasingly views us as occupiers and aggressors. Alexandria believes that we must end the forever war by bringing our troops home and ending the airstrikes that perpetuate the cycle of terrorism throughout the world. Does that answer your question, people? I mean, what more do you want? Is she still a DNC troll? Is she still being propped? Is that the Democratic Party's platform? No. Nancy Pelosi. War drums. Dianne Feinstein. Bill Maher, Joanne Reed, Rachel Maddow. Now, you may hear a hint of sarcasm in my voice, and the reason why is because I am so... Okay, people, listen. So I'm progressive. You all know this. We have an ally in Ocasio-Cortez, and people lambasting her about a website that she doesn't control, about a platform that if they had actually researched prior to 2 or 3 days ago, she's already talked about over and over and over again. She's very much so anti-war. And not only is she anti-war, but it appears she understands exactly the consequences of the perpetual warfare that America has partaken in over the last, 3/4 of a century. She had barely won the election, literally not even 24 hours. And progressives were already trying to come up with reasons as to why we shouldn't support her or get excited about the fact that she could unseat a corporate Democrat like Crowley. Some people say, well, she would have been cheated if she was really part of us. Okay, so once again, she was cheated. They did try to cheat her. And nobody did research on this or ask any questions about it. But Crowley was doing things like putting up signs and like her signs in places that they're not supposed to be at to essentially get her fined tens of thousands of dollars. And that wasn't on the day of the election. That was up into the election, amongst other tactics. Good. Watch the debate. Ocasio actually goes into detail about all the unfair tactics Crowley uses, and the fact that he shouldn't even be allowed to run because of his conflict of interest in the area. But every now and then, there are people who can, with hard work and dedication and the right team around them and the right demographics, and when all things fall into place, every now and then, a flower blossoms through the concrete. How do you think we even got Bernie Sanders to begin with? The demographics eventually favored him. He put in enough work to get things done, and he built up enough trust over time that eventually he moved from mayor of Burlington to the Senate. But don't believe that there was not losses in between. It happens. This time, she just happened not to lose because of the energy she was able to generate. Hell, even Donald Trump congratulated her. And she's a Democrat. Literally said she beat him she had a lot of energy. This young lady had a tremendous amount of energy. That's what he said. We do not want to alienate our allies, and also we don't want to alienate people who were thinking about running. But now, because of the way we react to any little thing that we don't like or that looks a little suspicious without doing an inquiry. I'm not talking about let's tag people on Twitter and get everybody who was already riled up and emotional, which they deserve to be because, we've been cheated over and over and over and over and over again. But don't get them riled up on Twitter by tagging them and putting these provocative, you're lambasting her by posing it as a provocative inquisition. And that's not what you do to your allies. A friend, Lee Stranahan, co-host of Fault Lines, talked about the fact that even he supports Ocasio. He says, I don't agree with her on almost any policy, except for the anti-war platform. But I do know this. Until otherwise proven, she is not corrupt. And that is something I absolutely support. And so therefore she has my support because these issues are the big ones. Being able to win elections against people like Crowley are big issues that we have to support. That money isn't what it takes to win elections. That's what it demonstrates. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be holding people accountable. We should, absolutely. But how do you hold somebody accountable for something they haven't done on a website that isn't, something they haven't done yet, in an office they haven't held yet, on a website that isn't controlled by them, after this person has a track record of being consistently anti-war? And she responds rather quickly. We can go into the other lies. I'll discuss that a little bit later. Like, she's a millionaire. Yeah, okay. But we need to learn how to take a step back and inquire politely. If that's literally the one thing that you can find wrong with her, it's something that was wrong on the website, not in her rhetoric, but her website that she doesn't control, don't you think that she deserves the benefit of the doubt? I will say this. If you're going to pay this close attention to Ocasio's election because she won and she's been posted everywhere and she's the youngest woman person to have ever won Congress if she gets this seat. Because of, her grace and how well-spoken she is, and, it's how unexpected it is to have a Puerto Rican woman from the Bronx be in a position that she's in. That's what it comes down to. A lot of people are taking advantage of the spotlight. Then why weren't you all paying to elections that were clearly being rigged in California? How many of you are paying attention to the elections that were clearly being rigged in Illinois? Because the ally that wins, we're trying to figure out what's wrong with her already. But the elections where our allies lost, nobody seems to be paying attention except for a few of us. Obviously, I did an extensive show on the rigging in California. We can't treat our allies like this and then be selective about what we're going to be outraged about. Yes, we know cheating is real. So let's get down. Let's do some investigative work. Let's inquire. Let's ask. Let's do this all the time. Don't say, oh, we want to make sure that we're holding our politicians accountable. How about we hold our system accountable? Because that's what you're really upset about. And let's not only hold it accountable when our allies succeed in it, but let's also hold it accountable for the allies that corrupt system helps defeat. Because there are people all over the country right now who probably should be winning, but haven't because of the corrupt system. Thanks for tuning into that segment of Mi Casa es Su Casa. Make sure that you subscribe. If you can, support the network by going to our Patreon link, which you can find in the description below. Also, join us on Just Inform. But remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.